Right, have gone.
Empowering women who have experienced sexual violence and trafficking. Pauline, what impressed you most about being here?
Thank you so much. I am so grateful. And just to start it off, to all the sisters that are here, anytime you'll ever feel like doubting, remember my face. Remember girls and young women like me that you've given an opportunity to sit before you and actually talk to you. I salute you all. To the generations of women that came before me and made a way for us, because we are not starting this work from scratch. We are learning from you. To all the young, amazing young people that are here, we are learning together. This is a journey that we are all together. And I will repeat this statement again. For the longest time in my life, I have never felt this safe. Safe to remain authentic, safe to just allow Akinyi, my middle name, that little girl. I only address myself as Akinyi when I feel safe, because that girl was never safe at any time. That girl was always the one who's pushed around in the Kibera slums and being told that you're too loud, shut up, you're too rogue, just none of your dreams will ever come to pass. But sitting here for the last days and being reminded that my voice is powerful, for our voices to be captured even in the final draft, for you to just affirm, appreciate, and accept that survivors' voices are needed, and not only needed, they are needed to be empowered, they are needed to be heard, for you to accept that from today we are not going to look at survivors as people who only want pity, but we are going to accept survivors to be on the table, to be decision makers, for you to actually affirm to me that in the next 2 years, I might sit in that UN table, and I will not be ashamed of telling them that I'm a survivor of sexual violence. I do not intend to ever kill that in me, because so many times survivors are told, don't speak. If you are in a certain space, if you're the president, don't tell people you're a survivor. I am one of the people who dreams that Kenya will one day have a president who has gone through sexual abuse or domestic violence of human trafficking, not because I want to make human trafficking to look good, not because I want to make sexual abuse look good, but I am one of the people who advocate for the right policies in Kenya. And until the day we will have a survivor sitting in some tables, until the day we will have survivors being given opportunities that I'm being given here, then the world will be a better place.
12 years later. So
Yes.
within that's 12 years where you didn't actually go for therapy.
Mm-hmm.
What would be in your mind like? What was your mental state like? Because that then
Mm-hmm.
leads to another, taboo topic, which
Yeah.
would be mental health, which
Yes.
again people don't talk about. But
Mm-hmm.
I've also said this that, generally what happens is one taboo topic often gives rise to
Mm-hmm.
another.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
gives rise to another one. And it's just
Yeah.
a non-stop cycle. The cycle
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't break.
Yes. 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 So, I first went to therapy last year, and I went to therapy because, in 2019 June, I went to a psychiatrist. I was not okay. I was being very suicidal in 2019, and I went to a psychiatrist, and they did all their examinations, and they told me that I'm bipolar. I have a bipolar disorder. It wasn't that extreme, but they told me that because of everything that I've gone through, I developed bipolar because I kept silent for a long time. Before I was 16, I was a very vibrant girl. I was a girl with so many dreams. My mom keeps telling me that I was telling her when I grow up, I want to be an engineer. I want to do this and this. I want to drive the way I used to see women driving. Just looking at women driving as a child was something that really motivated me to be better. But after I went through violence, Actually, I had to repeat the same class because I couldn't handle myself.
Wow.
I couldn't speak anymore. I started actually writing poetry when I was in Form 3, when I went through violence, because I felt like speaking my voice is a threat. So I went into writing. And my mental health went down with me because, immediately after my Form 4, I got married. And the reason why I got married, for 3 years, I was telling myself that this man destroyed me. This man maybe took my womb away because of the pain. I actually went through a lot of pain during my healing, the physical healing. I went through a lot of pain. I had a lot of infection. So in my mind, I used to tell myself that maybe this man destroyed my womb. So at the age of 19, I am in a marriage, not willingly, but I'm in a marriage to test if I can ever give birth. And in that marriage, I went through another series of domestic violence, a very serious domestic violence case. And by the time I was coming out of this situation and I am speaking my story the first time, I think that is when hell broke loose because I had everything. If there are things I have been told, I think it's when I first spoke out. Number one, I was told I am a loudmouth. That is why I was defiled. I deserved it actually. And, no one ever looked at me in that community and felt like, yeah, she didn't really deserve this. People in the same community felt like, actually, she deserves it. She deserves it. Pauline is a loudmouth. Maybe she went for it. Maybe, and at the end of the day, this was a family friend. Maybe she's the one who seduced this guy. I was 16. I was 16. And, for the longest time, I've really struggled with mental health issues, even until now. I am someone who's an extrovert. I am an extrovert. I love people. I love spaces. But sometimes because of what I go through, I pull myself back. I became so careful in making friendship and I became an introvert. That is not my personality. I tell people who tell me I'm an introvert, they actually do not know me because I'm not an introvert. I love being outside. I love making friendship. But because of everything I have gone through, I am someone again who really struggles with mental health issues. And this again is a topic that you don't speak about it, especially when you're a director or when you're a leader. As a leader, you need to be 100%. As a leader, you need to be 100% okay. But you know what? This year, I have been so loud about my mental health
Yeah.
issues because, I tell people at the end of it all, I'm human.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah, 13 years later, I have never bought a green dress. I was defiled in a green dress. I have never, ever, ever bought a green dress. I only wore a green dress once, and it was my 27th birthday. I was trying to come out of that fear. I bought the dress. I wore it. On that day, I was doing a photo shoot and I burnt it. I was like, no. And those pictures, they're not even my favorite pictures because for me, green traumatizes me, especially a green dress. They say
Green
nature
is
is
supposed to
green.
be the color for a
Yes,
go-to or something
yes,
of that sort.
yes. And here I am, green for me just scares me. I keep telling myself that one day I'll just do a very good gown, a green gown, and just wear it and walk myself through that process. But when I want to do it, I'm like, wait, Pauline, we are not ready to
We're
cry. We are
not
not
ready.
ready to sit down. We are not ready. Let's take this one step at a time.
One
But
step at a
you know,
time.
yeah, these are the mental health issues I've had to struggle with this year. This year in the first week of March, I was not really okay. My mental health was actually going down. And again, I went for the second assessment because the first assessment was in 2019. Again, I went for the second assessment, and this time I'm being told that I'm suffering from severe depression and bipolar. And I was like, yeah, these are the things we don't talk about. As a leader and as a survivor of sexual violence who actually supports other survivors, I've picked a lot of traumas because this is not only my story. This is a story of the 12-year-old girl who comes in our shelter and they've been defiled by their uncles and they've carried children and they're giving birth to children. And we've run Rebirth of a Queen for the last 6 years, and these are the cases we receive almost every single day. And so for the second time when I was being diagnosed this year, this is when I actually said, I don't think I can do this work alone. I feel like I need support. And it is okay for me to say, I cannot figure all this out. I just need support. Yeah. But mental health issues, again, this is another taboo, especially when you're a leader, especially when you're a
Yes.
mother. No, you're supposed to be strong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not only, I think it's not only being a leader, I think
Mhm.
mental health is just generally a taboo.
Mhm, mhm.
Of course, that's a topic for another day, but I have
Yeah.
been through, mental health issues. I have been
Mhm.
through my set of anxieties, and,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's difficult because there are people out there who don't believe that depression exists.
Good.
So as I was saying, like, yeah, you go through your mental issues and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So I think you even answered my other question that I wanted to ask you. How long does it
Yeah.
take to recover? But as you mentioned, you don't fully ever recover from it.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
one day at a time, and every single day
Mhm.
you'll face new issues. You'll probably
Mhm.
have that fear of probably staying with a man in the same room.
Yeah.
There'll
Mhm.
be times where you'll not want somebody even around you because you have that
Mhm.
fear that something will go wrong.
Mhm.
I think that's just a
Mhm.
normal mechanism that our body implements when it goes
Yeah.
through trauma and pain.
Mhm.
So tell me, when did you tell your parents and how did they react to it when you told them the first time?
I told my parents 7 years later. Actually, my mom, 7 years
Wow.
later. And
So till then,
my
like
mom,
nobody except for you knew
me
that this had
and the
happened.
perpetrators. Yes, me and the perpetrators who actually knew what this happened. I opened up to my mom 7 years later when I was 23 years old, and my mom, until today, my mom is very protective. Like my mom is really protective. Like she will want to know where I am, what I am doing, who am I with, when are you coming back, Pauline? You're alone at night. Do you have someone who you can call? My mom overprotective. Recently, my mom is overprotective because she realized she keeps telling me that she feels guilty she did not take care of me. But I tell her that this was something beyond her. They threatened
Absolutely.
me they were going to kill her. So as a child, I knew that
Yes.
keeping quiet was actually protecting my mother. Yeah.
Yeah, but in reality, if you go to see, probably they were just saying this so that you keep quiet and not
Yes.
actually
Yes. Mhm.
I've realized these perpetuators actually just tell you things to scare you and hit you at your
Yeah.
weakest spot. They actually
Yeah.
hit you at your weakest spot knowing very well that you keep quiet and you'll
Mhm.
never say anything because you're
Mhm.
scared. Of course, at that age you're scared to lose your mom, and I think that's
Yes.
also one of the reasons I never spoke to my family because I always had that
Mhm.
thing that, people will judge my family, people will
Yeah.
say this to
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
family, and you're so
Mhm.
protective about them
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
forget the pain you've gone through to protect them.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
I think when they realize, and then you realize today, if I intend to have children, and I feel that if my child goes through that, I want to let
Mhm.
my child know that my going through, I will deal with it. But you're going
Mhm.
through something so big like this should always be told to me. Forget, because I don't think what society will say will pain me more than what my child is going through. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
and I think
Yes. Yes.
I really wish and I hope that those parents who actually don't support their children when their children
Mhm.
go through this phase in life, and they get more concerned, and we watch in TV where the parents say, just keep quiet, don't complain,
Mm,
don't
mm,
complain, society.
mm,
I just want to tell those parents that, is that pain bigger of what society will say, or is the pain your child going through bigger for you? What
mhm.
matters to you? Does
Yeah.
society matter to you, or does your child, who you gave birth to and who you've nurtured, or who you are still nurturing to give birth? That
Mhm.
pain is more important. I mean, when we see girls, at the age of 12 giving birth, I'm
Yeah.
not even
Mhm.
near a mother. And
Mm-hmm.
the trauma and the pain kills me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, being pregnant, first of all, on its own is not easy. From
Yeah. Yeah.
people who have heard, from my cousins who've been
Mm-hmm.
pregnant, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
they tell me that being pregnant is not a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Giving
Yeah.
birth is not a joke. You are
Not a
still
joke.
fragile. You're still
Mm-hmm.
fragile. Your body has not even fully developed to that
Mm-hmm.
level. And you're here
Mm-hmm.
carrying another body while your body is still growing. You're not even
Yeah.
grown,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know how women being mothers who don't support their kids go through this, because they are women themselves. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I've never
Mm-hmm.
understood that logic of mothers telling their daughters or their sons to keep quiet when they go through. And it's not just daughters. I know,
Yeah. Even sons.
I've heard stories of men going through sexual harassment, where
Yes.
men
Yes.
are
Mm-hmm.
sexually harassing men. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not even just men harassing women. Certain men even
Mm-hmm.
harass men, and even those
Yeah.
boys are forced to keep quiet
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
because of the mere thing what society will say. Yeah, I'm sorry for my language, but fuck society. Literally, just I don't have enough things to say against this society that we say we're living in. And
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, I sometimes I just have no words, especially
Yeah.
with this kind of a topic.
Mm-hmm.
When I see people suffering even in TVs, and when I heard
Mm-hmm.
your story, um, I had tears in my eyes. Like, that's something that I just pray to God. No, nobody ever has to go through, whether it be a
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
or a woman. Nobody has to
Mm-hmm.
ever go through sexual violence. I think
Yeah.
that is the most painful violence to go through, because that
Mm-hmm.
trauma
Mm-hmm.
doesn't come out of you till you die.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, and one of the reasons, one of the things I keep telling, and the society is actually, sometimes I tell the girls at the shelter that the society is me and you. Right now, as we're
Yes,
here, this is our own society. And
yes,
one of the things I have been intentional about for the last 6 years has been creating a community within survivors. We've
absolutely.
gone through this pain, at least we understand each other. How can we create a community where we can always share opportunity, educate one another, create that safe space where if I speak about my experience, another person will feel like it's nothing. Pauline, why do you always have to speak about it? But within the community, especially at Rebirth of a Queen, we always encourage one another to speak about it. That is one way of actually healing. That is one way
Yes,
of letting go the pain. That is one way of empowering yourself, because unless we tell, I tell and this is something that a therapist told me, that Pauline, until the day you will speak about your oppression, the oppressors will make it feel like you enjoyed the oppression.
yes,
So, and that is what is happening. That is why when a girl speaks about sexual violence, we start by questioning, what were you dressed?
yes.
Where were you at that time? So, and we don't, and this is the reason why even right now men are abusing men, because we've empowered the perpetrator so much until
Correct.
they have a reason to do it. When we tell we ask girls, where were you at this time? You're telling the perpetrator that if you meet a girl
At this
at
time, at
7
this
p.m.
hour,
or 10 p.m., rape them. So
yes,
they've taken that even to now start going against the boys. And because again, we live in a society where boys or men are not supposed to cry, we are now having a whole, that is a whole topic on its own,
on its own,
when
absolutely,
yeah, yeah, where men have just been shut even when they go through pain. And this is something that we did it as a society. When a girl
absolutely.
is going through sexual violence, or you're not supposed to speak about it, you are the one who was dressed up badly. So we've empowered the perpetrator enough to have more reasons even now to go hurt other people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
And I think you're absolutely correct, in saying that we definitely, as a society, until we don't start talking about these kind of things,
Mhm.
these guys are not
Mhm.
going to stop. Today it's you,
Mhm.
tomorrow it's me. day after it's going to be
Yeah.
somebody else, and it's not just going to stop, because
Mm-hmm.
for them
Yes.
this is their job. Like we have a 9 to 5
Mm-hmm.
job,
Yeah.
this is exactly what their job
Mm-hmm.
is, to go
Mm-hmm.
and look for
Mm-hmm.
women and rape them, and then
Yeah.
blackmail them, do this, do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's really painful to see our society, or the generation today. As much as we say we're the 21st generation, and
Mm-hmm.
we're very advanced, it's painful to see that
Mm-hmm.
people still have this mentality, still have this
Yeah.
thinking, still do
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things, which is so
Mm-hmm.
painful. And yet here we are advancing, saying, oh, we are the 21st century, oh, we are so techy. My God, lights have gone. I mean, yeah, I think my heart breaks when, we have to go through these kind of things. It's painful. And I think that is why talking about this taboo is so important, for this same reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
And yeah. Mhm.
you're saying?
And I'm saying, I think one of the ways we need to start is just by, teaching even the next generation, and teaching ourselves that actually we need to stop calling it a taboo topic. It's no longer
Absolutely.
taboo. This is something
Yes,
that is
yes,
happening each and every single day. Like
definitely.
sometimes we have like 67 shelters in this country, and sometimes when you go through the groups, each and every single day, there has to be a case of a child who was defiled by the uncle, of a girl who went through sexual violence when they're in school, of a girl who went through sexual violence to get a job opportunity. So this is something that is actually happening every single day. We have created a rape culture in our community that has empowered perpetrators to do worse. Because right now, as we are speaking, I'm handling a case in Webuye of a 12-year-old who was defiled by the uncle, and there's nothing that can be done to the uncle because the uncle is related to a village elder. You see, it's something that is happening every single day. Now you can imagine, this is a 12-year-old. The youngest mother in our shelter right now is 13. She has a 9 months old baby. So this girl gave birth at 12. And the number of cases I have worked with in the theater room of girls and children, I call them children because if someone is not yet 18 and above, that is a child.
Yes, of course.
The, the number of children I have worked with in the theater room because they cannot actually push babies because their pelvic has not developed, it's just insane. And the moment we start speaking about these stories, and just this is something that is happening every single day in our communities. Whether they speak about it or not, sexual violence is happening. And I tell people that sometimes you don't want it to ever get to you or to ever get closer to someone to you. Sometimes it's
Absolutely.
actually no one heals from sexual violence. I have met
No.
60-year-old women who tell me 50 years down the line, and the moment they get into that space, they feel so terrified. So it's a high time we speak about it, because the moment we'll start speaking about this as conversations in our day to day, this will give the perpetrators a message that right now we are not scared of talking
You.
about it. But the
Absolutely.
perpetrators keep on defiling and raping and violating other people because they feel like we still do not want to speak about it.
Absolutely. And I think, yes, it's very important to talk about it. And I'm glad that today you and I are here talking about both
Yeah.
our individual
Mhm,
incidents.
mhm,
And I think that's how it starts. And that is exactly why I'm here today. And I'm so glad you joined me, Pauline.
mhm.
We've had a few technical errors. I'm sorry for that. But
It's
thank you
okay.
so much. I appreciate.
Mhm,
And yeah,
mhm.
may all those who are in your shelter have
Mhm.
the courage to speak, be strong, heal. I know it's
Mhm.
impossible to heal, but I
Yeah.
think they feel, and I know they're safe with you. So yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
those who are watching me today, if you were a culprit, I mean, if not a culprit, if you've gone through it, if you have
Mm-hmm.
been a survivor, talk, speak up, and yeah, that is how exactly we're going to stop this. That's exactly how we.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much.
Pauline, for joining. I appreciate the time you've given me today.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you, Pauline. Bye.
See you. Bye.
So I hope all of you enjoyed today's topic, and to those, as I said, who are going through this or who've been through it, and if you've never spoken up, do speak up. And if you're not comfortable talking to anybody around you, feel free to contact me. You can put in your details, or you can just drop in a comment and say that you want to speak to me, and I will somehow try to get in touch with you. And yeah, I mean, I might not be able to help you legally or any way, but I can definitely be there for you and help you through it as much as I can, and maybe even connect you with Pauline if she allows it, and just have speak a one-on-one, a heart-to-heart talk, and just talk about the journey, and talk about what you've gone through. Sometimes, as Pauline mentioned, healing can just be by talking. So yeah, um, I hope you have all enjoyed. I Trust me, I was so engrossed in this topic and I so wanted to bring this topic up. I didn't get a chance to think what my next topic is going to be. So we're going to leave it at that. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Aujo. See you, everybody.